I'm Annette Pasternak, the Stop Skin Picking Coach. I'm here today with Dr. Christy Garner. Welcome, Christy.
Thank you, Annette.
Hey, you're welcome. Thank you. So I met Christy last week. I think it was only just over a week ago at the Heart and Soul Academy retreat for body focused repetitive behaviors. And
We were roomies.
we were roommates. I was going to say we were not only roommates, but I actually attended one of your talks. I would have liked to attend the other one as well, but I was teaching then. But I was like blown away like by what a wealth of information you are. And so I was like, I have to get her on my YouTube. And yeah, so welcome. So, Dr. Christy, she's a chiropractor as well as having recovered from both skin picking and hair pulling. So,
I started pulling my hair when I was 9 years old. And really struggled with it until I was about 33 years old. So I've got lots of years of struggling under my belt. I've really actually got more mastered struggling than recovering, is the truth. So I have a lot of compassion. And skin picking is interesting because I actually don't remember a time when I didn't pick. It. I must have been so young that behavior started. So that is been happening my whole life, and actually that runs in my family. So many of my family members and extended family members are skin pickers.
Yeah, so do you want to first start with like sharing a bit about how you recovered? And I know you've got probably some less usual things like your personal routine that really keeps the behaviors at bay, or
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
that'd be great.
So I've tried lots of things. I mean, for many years, I actually didn't seek any recovery because I didn't realize that it had a name or that it was like a real thing. And I think probably a lot of people tuning in here, there's like such relief. I know I felt when I realized, oh my God, this is like a real thing with a name. And that wasn't until I was 20 years old. So there was a good period of my time where I just kind of silently struggled and didn't know at all how to start getting help. And then for a good chunk of my, from 20 until almost up until age 30, I just tried to piecemeal different things together. I did a lot of reading. I sought out some different people who had some experience and tried lots of different things to try to help myself. But I would say, and this is kind of the question that we all want to get to, is like what really made the difference, because obviously I have a head of hair now, and my skin is healed, and I have to say that it wasn't just one thing. And I think that's like a really helpful thing to keep in mind, is you're not actually looking for the silver bullet. I feel like it's like you're actually looking for creating for yourself this toolbox, and you do such an awesome job at sharing this with people, like these different tools that when pulled together to support yourself, can actually support your nervous system to such a degree that you no longer need to do the behavior. So for me, the tipping point was really about daily practice. It was when I didn't just have these tools in my head, it was when I created a routine for myself. So what my personal routine looks like today is every morning I wake up, and the first thing I do is I have just a couple moments of a gratitude practice, and I think about the things that I'm grateful for, the people I'm grateful for. It's a bit of a practice called loving kindness, and so that's something individuals could look up. It's a very beautiful practice of self-compassion and then sharing that with others. And then I head downstairs and I just nail my butt to the floor, and that's when I do a little bit of yoga and stretching, and then I'll do some type of a little mindfulness practice with the intention of just like really dropping into my body and becoming really intimate with my own body. So what I found for myself is, being an individual with a sensitive nervous system, I really benefit from getting to know what is my norm, like where's home for my nervous system. And that's what I do in the mornings, is I get in touch with, oh, this is what my heart feels like when I'm centered. This is what my breathing feels like when I'm centered. This is what my shoulders feel like when I'm centered. And that way, as I'm going throughout the day, I can notice, oh, my heart is racing, or my shoulders are creeping up, or my stomach's starting to tighten. And then I know it's time to use some of my tools to be able to bring myself back into balance. And then I do a similar thing at night. I have a nighttime routine where I use the foam roller to be able to just help to bring some alignment to the spine and help the brain talk to all the parts of my body. And then I do another yoga and meditation practice. So that's been for me the biggest shift, is not so much that I didn't have the tools, but I didn't have them go into my day first and then build my day around that practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think it's so important for viewers to realize that it's the routines that we do and that we put into practice every day that make the difference and work for us every single day. And and just like, getting in touch with yourself, and like you describe your nervous system. And, I probably don't say this enough, that like we all of us with these behaviors, like we have very sensitive nervous systems, right? And so we need extra amounts of self-care, other people can get by.
I like to compare us to, like, if we were a car, we're like the most highly refined sports car.
I love it.
Like, when we're on our game, we're really like hard to beat because we're super creative and super driven and like all these amazing things. Mm-hmm. But we also require the best gas, the fanciest oil. We need regular tune-ups. You know what I mean?
I love this analogy.
Totally. And so it's like there's a price for that sensitivity that we have. And I think that's really like what we're up to here, is sharing what are the ways that we can maintain ourselves and be able to navigate life with these sensitive nervous systems and do it skillfully, because they really are an asset. We just maybe didn't learn that along the way. It feels like a burden sometimes, but really, truly, our sensitivity is an asset.
I love that. Like, just reframing it, we just feel like this is the burden of our lives sometimes, understandably, but just kind of, that blows my mind. I love the sports car analogy, and you guys can see why I was so eager to get Dr. Christy on, right? Give the video a thumbs up if you're getting lots of value already, and let's transition a little bit. So as far as I know, you've got like a lot of great info to share about skin and healing, acne, all that, wound healing. Do you want to start with talking about some herbs like you did in the talk the adaptogenic herbs?
So I think a good place to start, again, coming from the premise that we don't pick our skin for no reason. So grooming behaviors are something that we all do, but these behaviors that we do are actually quite specific in that if we really slow down and check in, when we do these behaviors, it's usually because our body is feeling a little bit out of balance, one way or the other. Our nervous systems might be revving really high, and sometimes what that feels like is you just feel super anxious, or maybe you're worried about something, or maybe you're just trying to avoid something, like you really like can't deal with something. But if you start asking yourself and dropping into your body and saying, just being curious, what do I feel right now, the sensations in my body? Oftentimes people report that they're feeling kind of these anxious feelings in their body. And then on the other side, sometimes it's understimulation. And so, these types of behaviors can pop up when we're feeling like really bored, or just kind of zoning out, like watching TV or reading a book, and you just kind of feel like you're splitting off. And so these behaviors give our system a little stimulation. So the reason I mentioned that before I start talking about herbs is there is a group of herbs that I almost feel are like divinely on this planet to help us. Again, us meaning those individuals who have really sensitive nervous systems. And one of the ways that we navigate that sensitivity is by doing these behaviors. And so with that in mind, the thing that I found is if we can support a more resilient nervous system, so if we can ground our nervous systems so that it's harder to push us off our game one direction or the other, our behaviors follow along with it. All of a sudden, that need to pick our skin will greatly diminish. Does that make sense? Did I explain that okay?
Yeah, wonderful.
Okay. So the herbs that are really helpful are called adaptogens, just like it sounds, adapt, ADAPTOGENS. And it's actually fascinating to Google and look them up because what's really unique about adaptogens is there's just a handful of them in the world. And the unique properties that they share is that, number one, they're non-toxic, so they're safe. You can take them in any amount and they're not going to hurt your body. That's why I think it's really empowering to have something that you can actually try without having to be fearful that they might be toxic. And the second is that they are bi-directional. And what that means is, what their kind of superpower is that they allow your body to decide which direction they're going to go. So, for example, you can take an adaptogenic herb, and if you're feeling tired, it'll actually build up your energy levels. It'll increase your energy. And then on the other side, if you are anxious or if you're revving really high, it'll actually calm your body. And so it has this ability to be able to modulate yourself. And that's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about a nervous system that tends to, or a sports car, that tends to rev too high, and we do our behaviors, or too low, and we do our behaviors. And so how can we stay in that sweet spot? And that's really what adaptogens help us to do, is to just to have that kind of stay in that zone where we're at our peak performance. And so a handful of adaptogens that I've found to be helpful, one of the most common is reishi. It's R-E-I-S-H-I. Reishi is a mushroom. That's a wonderful adaptogenic herb. Another great one is ashwagandha. That one comes out of India. That's a great adaptogenic herb. If you look them up, there's many of them, but I actually like to use them in combination. So to make life really simple, my favorite adaptogenic formula is called Super Adaptogen, and it's by Dragon Herbs. And it's a combination of many different adaptogens, so you don't have to take like one from here and one from there. It's a combination that really helps to support your body.
Great. It's always nice when there's like one easy thing that people can.
And the truth is that it's so much more PC to just say like, let me tell you about the 14 different adaptogens, and then good luck, go find your own source. But I don't know, I feel like we're all in this together, and it's like if I can help somebody find a shortcut. I've tried a lot of them, and that particular one is really, really effective.
Great. Okay, thank you for that. So how about tips for skin just cleansing or healing or acne kind of tips? That would be really helpful for.
I'm sure you've already offered so many. I'm a big fan of your site, so I'll try not to repeat things that you've already done with individuals. But I really struggled with cystic acne, and so that for me was like one of the impetuses. So if I was going to say the two things that routinely triggered picking episodes for myself, in addition to stress, the physical ones were mosquito bites, because I grew up in Minnesota and I was always covered in mosquito bites, and that's just like not fair. Totally not fair for a person who has a sensitive nervous system. So that's one, and the second one was my cystic acne, and my brain would get so fixated that there was something like so marvelous inside these cysts that just had to come out, and my brain would get so stuck on that. And so I really found that, number one, moving away from Minnesota, sorry, Minnesota, but that's not required, but that was helpful. And the second was getting my cystic acne under control. So I'll share with you, it's a super simple, easy, you can mix it up at yourself, home remedy. It almost sounds too simple to work, but it is the most effective thing. And this is something I can say. I've tried medications, I've tried fancy potions and lotions and creams, and this for me has by far worked the best. So that was a good drum roll.
I know.
She paper and pen. So
suspense.
So the formula is just a base of hemp oil, and I use organic cold pressed hemp seed oil. And you can get lots of different brands. The particular one I often use is Nutiva, but there's lots of great ones out there as long as it's organic, cold-pressed hemp seed oil. And the reason why that is a really great solution is hemp oil is a 0 on the comedogenic scale, and that's just a fancy word for saying how much is it going to clog your pores. And so a lot of people get afraid of oil when you have acne because you think, oh my God, it's going to break me out more. And the trick is really how comedogenic is the oil. So that is actually true of some of the thicker oils. You wouldn't want to put them on your skin, but our skin is really, when you think about it, it's the same as leather. We're actually like really designed and best nourished with oil. And so if you can find oil that is low, or because I had cystic acne, so I'm like, it has to be a 0.
0, yeah.
You get so scared after a while. But hemp oil is a 0 on that rating scale, so meaning it won't clog any of your pores. So I just put a little bit of hemp seed oil in my hand, and then just regular baking soda. A combination of hemp seed oil and baking soda, and you mix it until it's a consistency of a spreadable paste, and kind of like a really runny spreadable paste. And then I massage that into my skin. And the nice thing about the baking soda is, one, it's really alkaline forming. So what it causes is that it will help to fight any little bacterial infections that are deep inside your pores. And so it'll help. So you can either fight that with acids, which is what most products on the market do, or you can do it the opposite, which is when you think about like when we want to get rid of oily deposits or things that, think about like dish soap or those are all really alkaline forming. And so the baking soda is really alkaline. So it's going to help to clear up any little infections. But the baking soda is also a really, really gentle scrub. So it's so fine that you're not going to do more damage to your skin. Because I did that too. So like we can just take things a little too far. Yeah. So I used to do the scrubs, with like the bigger chunks of apricot seed kernels. And then you can do that too much and you can actually do some more damage to your skin. So baking soda is so fine, that won't happen. And so I just do in circles. If you really want to get a deeper cleanse, you can use like an unscented baby wipe. And then you can go over it to help kind of get it in deeper. And that's often how I take off the cleanse as well, as I'll just then take a baby wipe and I'll go over to get all the baking soda and oil off and then just splash with water. And it does really amazing things. I'm actually really excited to hear how your viewers...
I know. Yeah, me too. So viewers, if you feel comfortable after you try it, please leave a comment. Come back to the video and let us know how it went.
It's surprisingly great. And then you can either use just that hemp oil if you want to use it as a moisturizer because it's a 0. I don't love the smell of it. And so what I use just cold-pressed argan oil. That's also a 0 on the comedogenic. So just a couple drops of the cold-pressed argan oil. If you start underneath your eyes, so that's where you're using it to get the most hydration, and then just work your way out and onto your neck. That's just a really simple kind of daily routine for being able to get a scrub and a moisturizer. And if you're wearing makeup, you can do just a makeup remover step before you do the scrub. So for that, I'll just use an unscented baby wipe, take off the makeup. If you have eye makeup on, you can just take a little bit of the hemp oil without the baking soda and just take off your eye makeup, wash that off, and then do the scrub, and then do the oil for moisturizer at the last step.
Super. This sounds like a good plan. So how about scars? Any advice for scars?
Scars are a hard one. There are things that can help with scarring, depending on where on the body it is. So if it's not on the face, some of the silicone applications are really nice for scars if you don't get irritated by them. Some people don't do real great with them, like they find them too itchy and irritating. But if you can handle it, that does seem to be, from a natural perspective, one of the most effective ways to help remedy scars.
What are those?
It's like a little silicone adhesive pad. And they developed them actually for, like, when you get cosmetic surgery, you would put it over the incision site, and it helps it to heal much more effectively. And they really do work very well. So, like, if, let's say, you had a place where you'd picked a lot and you have a really deep scar, or even a keloid scar that's raised up, or you just can't get it to heal, you can, and you don't need a prescription. You can buy them at CVS or Duane Reade, depending where you are, and you just follow the directions on the box and put it over the area. And it's nice because it works twofold as a physical blocker for you, and then the second is it creates this little microclimate that your body is the one that does the magic. It just helps to facilitate deeper healing.
We have links to these products, the things Dr. Christy's mentioning, in the description under the video.
And then the other thing is the biggest thing that the body needs to heal these things is circulation. So anything that can provide circulation to the area. So I love gentle skin brushing. You know, that's also a wonderful way to, if we talk about reducing acne. Again, we don't have acne for no reason. Our bodies actually are, we can either say lazy, or I like to say efficient. Like, our bodies actually don't want to, it's not messing with us ever. So we're not just having acne because our body's like throwing a temper tantrum. It's actually trying to balance itself out, and oftentimes it's an imbalance of something in our bodies, and our body's trying to detoxify. And one of the places where we have the most open pores is on our face, and so that's why we tend to get acne breakouts there. So and there's also hormonal reasons as well, but that's one of the main reasons. So one other way you can support yourself with acne is if you skin brush your body. So just gently brush towards your heart, your arms, your legs, your torso. I like to do that before, anytime I take a shower, I'll skin brush beforehand. That opens up all your pores, and now your body has all of this real estate that it can detoxify through, not just the skin on your face. And it really makes a big difference if you do it consistently.
Great. Yeah, I'll put a link to a skin brush. Either one. I mean, you use one, I've used one, I have one. I haven't done it in quite a while, but
I know it is, and I think that's such a great point to touch on. Is like, all of these things, we're all human, and so I'm the same. I go through phases of I do things really well for a while, and then I vary out, and that's why I come back to. And you and I had this great talk about this at the retreat, where it's actually so helpful to decide ahead of time how your day is going to go. Like, we can't control what's going to happen in the day, but we can control a few things, like our daily practice. And so I love that idea of, okay, I don't know how my morning's going to go, but I know how I'm going to start my morning, and I'm going to start it with, and whatever it is that you find works for you. So I'm going to start it with some stretching and some meditation. I'm going to start it with skin brushing, and I'm going to take my adaptogen. And that's the way I love myself and set myself up for a positive day. And you know, you so powerfully shared that at the retreat, and I think that is such great, a little bit of wisdom to share with people.
Cool. Thank you for sharing it now. And I'll link, I'll put I have a morning routines video actually, and I can put that in for people who haven't seen that yet. Just, more ideas and more kind of like why you want to build a morning routine, even though we've made the point probably pretty well.
You know what else is too? Because I think it's worth belaboring it, because it actually is the thing that makes the biggest difference is having these routines. And I know for myself, I resisted it for so many years because I somehow felt like if I was going to like do the same thing every day, somehow I was losing my freedom. Like that somehow that was not empowering to me, because for me, freedom is like, that's what we all want, right? Mm-hmm. That's actually at the very core. If I ask myself, like, why do I want to stop picking and pulling? It's really because I want to have freedom mm-hmm. over if I do these behaviors or not. I want to have freedom to go outside when the wind's blowing and be able to not worry about my bald spot. I want to go and be able to wear my swimsuit and be free and not, mm-hmm. So it really is about freedom. And what I found for myself is that I actually had so much more freedom when I had just a bit of discipline for myself, mm-hmm. like a little structure to hold me in, so that I kind of had a bookend to my day. And then the freedom is that I actually never knew that. I know that I'll never derail again. And that's because I start my day in this loving, nourishing way for myself. And no matter what happens during the day, no matter what crazy mayhem pops up in front of me, I actually have a practice before I go to bed, and I know I'm going to reground myself. Yeah. And so I know I can actually never go more than 12 hours where things are going to get crazy, because I always have these touchstones, and that's really helpful, especially when we're so sensitive. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can feel like you're a tumbleweed, and I feel like these grounding points are so empowering.
Yeah, I wouldn't be anywhere if I hadn't started a morning routine. For me, it started as just meditation, and that's probably what has made the biggest difference for me. But it's like, it's so important. It's these things that we do every day to set ourselves, to set our state, to, start our day with some peace and intentionality to, what's the day going to be like? What's under our control, right? Like, because otherwise you're surrendering the day right away to like whatever happens. Totally. You've got no basis for like, hanging on to yourself and your stability. Yeah.
And we're actually already masters of daily practice. It's just our daily practice is often picking or pulling, so we actually know the power of something you do every day.
Yeah.
For me, it looked like 2 huge bald spots and like a reverse mohawk of bald ear and scars all over my body. Yeah. But it was just a little bit every day. And so I think that same power, if redirected, applies to healing. It's like we're not going to heal in a day, but if we just do a little bit every day, it's amazing to see what can happen when you look back after a month and after a year. I mean, it truly is.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hope people find this inspiring, because, there's this part of us that's so impatient and we want to get better now. Yeah. And that somehow prevents us from taking the little steps each day that, add up.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Christy.
It's been my pleasure.
Oh, you had one more tip for the scars. I think I interrupted you and we got kind of...
That's right. We were talking about also open wounds, like healing of open wounds.
Yeah.
And so for that one, I think the biggest thing is, which we've talked about before, is number one, just having a physical barrier so that you can't physically get to the wound. Like there's actually nothing better than not picking it for it to heal.
Yeah.
Our bodies have got this. Like it knows what to do if we just stop messing with it. So physical blocking is really helpful. And if you do want to put something on it, the thing I found most helpful, actually better than anything out there, any product, is Manuka honey. And Manuka, M-A-N-U-K-A, Manuka honey. And that is nice because it, number one, has compounds in it that help to prevent infection, because that's as skin pickers, that's kind of like the thing we're up against as far as immediate danger because of our skin picking. And it's actually relatively common. It's not something we talk about, but that is probably the biggest physical danger that we have with these, because this is our barrier. Our skin's our barrier between us and the rest of the world. And so when we have penetrated our barrier, it really leaves us susceptible and vulnerable. So Manuka honey, you can apply it directly to any wound, and it will help as an antimicrobial, but also speed up healing.
Great. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, super. So,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much. You've given so much value today. And yeah, thank you, viewers. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not.
And before we go, I'm totally going to out you. So I it's just like, I just also want to take an opportunity to tell your viewers that Annette is an amazing teacher, and that's undoubted because you're so skilled and you're so generous with your knowledge. But you are also totally quirky and totally dorky and silly, and I love that. And so I just want to throw out there that not only is Annette your teacher, like an amazing, wise teacher, but she's also a totally cool, fun person. And I just honor that. And so I just wanted to take a moment just to like really acknowledge the amazing person that you are, Annette.
Oh, thank you, Christy. That's sweet. Yeah, it's hard to sometimes, like, I don't come across probably on video the way.
It's hard because we're always just want to share, and it can become really brainy. And
yeah.
And you have so much heart and passion in this, and so I just wanted to take that moment.
Oh, thank you so much. And you as well. Like, yeah, I mean, you're such a teacher, and I can't wait till people can come to you for some help with, especially I know the hair pulling, right? So I don't know, I don't have to put that in there if you're, because I don't know if you want to be public about this yet.
No, it's good. It's good. Well, thank you so much for the invite. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was totally fun. So Dr. Christy's agreed to answer any questions you have in the comments. So please leave a comment. And
Sounds
thank
great.
you again. Bye.
Pleasure.